One of the biggest things with flight sim is that people get bored or burnt out. So if you're looking to shake things up, here are some ideas you might not have tried. Let's dive in. Reignite your passion. This can be something as simple as trying a new aircraft or a new airport. There are a ton of different aircrafts within Microsoft Flight Simulator. You can go from airliners to bush planes, gliders, helicopters, float planes. All of them handle a bit differently, and all of them handle airports a lot more unique. I'll be honest, when I first got into Microsoft Flight Simming way back in '98, I was into the airliners, hardcore. I didn't touch any GA stuff. Even the training stuff, which was amazing back then, I didn't really touch it because I had a passion for airliner stuff. And once Flight Sim 2020 came out and the world started looking amazing, it opened my eyes to what bush flying and what GA aircrafts can do. And I did a lot of things with general aviation as time went on with Flight Sim 2020. Also, switching up areas where you may have never flown before. That's one of the things that I did when I first got into flight simming, at least with 2020, is I jumped around a lot. Back in the day, in '98 and the early 2000s, I did a lot of the same airports that I'm very familiar with. And I wanted to start shaking things up when it came to 2020, and I really did. I went to every continent. I went to majority of the countries in the world. It was such an experience that I got to see with my own eyes within the simulator itself. And then real world weather challenges. Now, I'll be very honest. When I first got into simming, I always did clear skies, no wind, no rain, no clouds, just crystal clear, the perfect day for flying that every pilot would say. Well, in 2020, my goal was to always try to keep it the same real world weather at all times, with some minor exceptions in there, of course. You know, you don't want to be flying in zero visibility in a plane that isn't meant for that, even though that's part of your route you're going to be planning to do. So you might have to change things up. The same would be said with the time of day. I like to stick with real world time. Of course, I do like to change it up because, if you're always flying at night in real world, well, you're never going to be able to experience the daytime. So I like to switch it up as well. And then pair with Twitch or YouTube content creators. Challenge yourself to teach or entertain. So that's one thing you can easily do, is there are so many amazing content creators out there that do group flying. So partner with their discords, partner with their community, and start doing real world stuff with them. Making it challenging, setting goals, or dive into simulation tools. So this could be as easy as using no autopilot for a flight. And there are some aircrafts, general aviation, that don't have an autopilot in there, or have an autopilot but are limited. So that'd be a great opportunity to try something completely different within the simulator itself. And then a career path. So start from the beginning. A C-172, move your way up in jets. You don't have to use a career add-on, which we'll talk about soon, but you can do like what I did, which is do an around the world tour and change things up with that. And that was our next thing, which is around the world tour. I had done 2 of them, primarily in 3 different aircrafts, and it was such a pleasure. It took a very long time. If you're using a general aviation, which I did, it took a very long time to go around the world. And I'll be honest, I skipped over the big land of water, right? Because, GA is kind of difficult to do that. But either way, I did all the continents. I did all of the countries in that stop, and it was really cool. I actually did it twice, and it was a lot of fun. I do highly recommend it. Figure out what aircraft you want to use and go at it. And then master a difficult approach. So there are a ton of challenging approaches within the world of flight simming in the real world, of course. So, of course, Asobo is awesome. They have landing challenges. Do the same thing, but make your own. Go search the web for all kinds of different airports that are challenging, and challenge yourself to get the perfect landing in whatever aircraft you like, and maybe try a different plane. Community and add-ons. Now, this is part of what I was talking about earlier, which is joining a community, being part of their Discord, being part of their Twitch if they're doing GA flights, if they're doing aviation, airliner flights on their stream, join their stream. And dude, I know Kip on the Ground, 757 Spy, these two both do amazing jobs at teaching you the very basics of the plane and have a lot of fun doing that. And their community has expanded and they just enjoy what they do. So those are two groups I highly recommend you check out if you're looking to get into multiplayer stuff. You can also go into Asobo's own forum, and many of the other developers have forums as well, or Discord channels, where you can put in, hey, I'm looking to join a group. Anyone interested in doing this? And join that group. And that was where you can build a lot of amazing friendships within the sim. Add-ons like NeoFly, FS Economy, On Air, APL all offer you some way to do a story-driven experience within the sim. So when I did one of my around the world tours, and when I first got into like career mode for flight simming, it was NeoFly. And so what I pretended is that I was a small guy, small dude, had a plane, and that I was doing little cargo hops for farmers in the land where I started from. And eventually that grew into doing other things. And it became an airline where I was starting from one location, flying people to the next, and then going from that location because someone else wanted to go to this location. And it was consistent non-stop flights going to all these other little stops. And it was really cool experience to do that. It was hundreds of flights, but it was so cool of an experience for sure. And then the next thing is new ATC experiences. The default ATC within Flight Sim 2020 and 2024, they kind of get you going, but there is a lot more beyond that. And that comes to Beyond ATC, which is an AI ATC, and it is a $30 purchase. It's well worth it. It's a one-time thing. I highly recommend it when it comes to taking the next step when it comes to ATC. You also have FS HUD, which is about $35. Again, a one-time purchase, a fantastic add-on for ATC. Both use AI in some form or fashion to make it all happen. It's a great learning experience as well. And then if you're ready and want to, you can always jump into VATSIM, which is a way to communicate with real ATC people out there. So they may not be real world ATC people, but they are in the sim. So you'll actually talk to a real world person that will direct you on your path with hundreds of other people on the VATSIM network. So I highly recommend that as well if you want to dive into that direction. And last but not least, it's okay to walk away for now. It's okay to take a break. They are super healthy. Sometimes if you're into one thing for so long, you start to lose that passion. It does happen, even with something you're so passionate about when it comes to flight simming. So sometimes taking a week away, sometimes taking taking a month off to bring that passion back in your life of flight simming. It is very much a good thing to do. I did that with Flight Sim 2020, where I took off almost a month because I was just burnt out of all that stuff. And this is before I was really making content for Flight Sim, I'll be honest. I just got burnt out. I flew a lot. And with 2024, knock on wood, that hasn't seemed to happen remotely close because I enjoy a lot of the add-ons that I use within a sim. You can always try a different sim or another aviation game as well. So if you still like doing sim-related stuff, there are hundreds of different sim things, from buses to trucks to cars. You can be a farmer, whatever you like to do. There are a lot of sims out there. So if you want to take a break from flight sim, get into another sim. And watch aviation documentaries or pilots on YouTube to get inspired again. I honestly did this a lot. Missionary Bush Pilot, which is the guy I watch on YouTube, he flies the Kodiak in Papua New Guinea, and I absolutely watched a lot of his material. I have a couple of his shirts because I want to support him as much as I can. And he is an amazing teacher. So find out what you're interested in the real world aviation world. Hop on YouTube, look it up, and you will find many amazing creators out there. What are some ideas that help get you excited if you started getting burnt out with Flight Sim? Leave your comment down below, and we'll see you for the next video. Take care.